Right, these are the lures that we're going to be using to do these tests with. Colours may vary from time to time, but they will stay the same weight throughout the tests. So from left to right, we've got a 24-gram paddle tail, we've got a 17-gram chatterbait, we've got an 11 to 12 centimetre jerkbait weighing in at 13 gram, we've got 9-gram spin tails, we've got an 8-gram popper, we've got 2 6-gram jerk baits, and down the bottom is a 4-gram paddle tail. That's what we're going to be using for all of these rod tests. Right, hi folks, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for checking out the video. We're on our third episode of the Temu Tackle reviews, and we're back again with another Sougayilang rod and another Billings reel. However, things are getting better, so similar sort of price range. Again, all the details down below with the link, but the customizing on this rod is considerably better than the previous two. We've got nice metal butt cap, gold customing all the way up, obviously company name written in white there, look. This plastic feels much stronger, much better quality than the other two that I felt. It's more akin to like an ABS type of plastic as opposed to cheap toy plastic. Again, we've got a metal reel housing on the front, and it goes straight into lovely detailing for the hook holder, which I'm being naughty and not using. I've got it hooked onto the eye, and we're on it's pretty much a plain black blank all the way up. Again, 2.1 meter, 7 foot. It recommends a line weight of between 6 and 12 pounds. Lure weight between 1/8 of an ounce and 3/4 of an ounce. So that's about 3.5 gram up to about 21-ish gram, 21 gram. And it markets itself as a medium power lure rod. And it's certainly thicker than the first two that we've reviewed. The customizing stops on the first half a lot again. Bit of a letdown, but this is the same with the Abu Garcia rods as well. Pay a lot of money for them, you'd expect them to put a little bit of gold thread or something all the way up it, but they don't. That's all right. Again, checking the eyes for any metal showing through, and this is again much better. There doesn't seem to be any showing through on the top section. We get down to the bottom section, and there's a bit there, look, you can see it on the camera, but that's all. Everything else is very tidy. It seems like it was made to a higher standard than the first rod, and again, they're a very similar sort of price range. So we're on the Billings VN200, yeah, VN200 12+1 ball bearings. Again, I love this reel. You'll see these reels quite a bit. I have purchased several of them, so that tells you something about them to start off with. Again, I'm going to get the prices wrong just off the top of my head, but they're somewhere around £14. However, you put one in your basket and leave it for a bit, you might get an offer on it like I did, and I bought one for £6.38, and this reel is definitely worth £6.38. Okay, so I've got some nice cork handles on the reel, that's looking good. And round on this side, same as the other ones that we've seen so far, it's a max 9 setting, so that's your magnetic brakes. Right, so we are technically casting a little overweight with this lure, because this is a 12-gram head on a 12-gram body, so technically we're chucking 3 gram over. I don't think it'll bother this rod that much, so let's give it a go. It was a bit springy. It did feel like it felt the extra 3 gram. It's working the lure though. I can feel that tail kicking nicely. So the slightly more sensitive blank. See if we can. That's better. Felt a bit loose the first chuck. Let's try again. That's better. Again, we're hitting 30 meters. Feel that tail working straight away. So the gear ratio on this reel is slightly smaller than the other ones that we've seen so far. Ooh, the other ones have been around the 7.2, 7.5 ratio. So that sort of means for every one rotation of your handle, you're getting the equivalent rotations of the spool. So if it's 7.5, you're getting 7.5 rotations of the spool, which would give you something like, I don't know, off the top of my head, let's say 60 centimeter retrieve for one cycle of the spool reel. So this Billings VN200 gear ratio is 6.5, I think. So it retrieves line a little slower than the other two. And it's a lovely cast. I picked these up for my perch fishing. So I can like Ned and cheb rig across the bottom at a really slow speed without having to worry too much about it. And they are just a really nice reel. They feel lovely. You're getting metal on both sides, and it don't feel like the Chinese mystery metal either. It feels substantial. It doesn't feel any different to my Abu Garcia baitcasters. And it chucks lovely, it makes a lovely noise. And again, just a retrieve on the reel. That noise that you're hearing, that's the braid going through the eye, going through the guide. Sounds lovely. There's no squeaks or clanks or bumps or grinds. Out of the reels that we've seen so far, this is definitely the better reel. And like I say, they're all in a similar price bracket. This is the second Billings reel that we've tested, and it is leagues above the Kailin. That green Kailin that you saw in the last episode, it's leagues above that. It just can't explain. It's just different, so different, smoother, nicer to use. But if you want a 7.5 ratio retrieve, it's not for you, because it's not a 7.5. So this will be the last chuck with this. Ooh, I think that might have been weed. Yeah, weed or a tree root or something. So 24 gram, which by its published casting weight is 3 gram over ish what it's supposed to cast. Didn't have a problem with it. So let's drop the weight down and see what a chatterbait feels like on it at 17.5 gram. So as I have used this reel a fair bit, it's already dialed in quite loosely because I'm quite accustomed to it. So the difference between the 24 gram and the 17 gram was accounted for in my personal casting preference. So if I want to chuck this further, I would loosen this up a little bit more to dial it in. Again, when you become used to using your tools, you know how to sort of get the best out of them. So let's give this a chuck. 17 gram chatterbait. Out he goes again, same distance. Oh, lovely. You get great feedback on this rod. Does feel really nice. Nice vibrations on the tip. The reel is just comfortable to bring it back in. Pistol grip in your handle. Doesn't rub on your fingers. There's no like seam on it. That's the thing to watch for. There's a seam down the middle of a lot of them, down the middle of the pistol grip. And you don't think much about it when you first pick it up and use it, but after a couple of hours of chucking, it starts to rub on your fingers and takes away some of the skin. It's easy to resolve, just get a little bit of fine sandpaper and rub that smooth. I know some folks that will put a bit of like modelling putty in it and really make it smooth, or fill it in as it were. But a bit of sandpaper would do it just as good, a bit of time and effort. But again, this rod doesn't need that. To be fair, neither did the other two in the earlier episodes. That feels lovely. Can't fault it. We'll have one more chuck and then we'll drop the weight down to what is it, 13.5 gram jerk bait. I say this markets itself as being a medium power rod, so it should deal with that quite nicely. That should be quite pleasurable to fish with that. Yeah, I can feel it hitting stuff on the bottom. Perfect. So we'll drop the weight down and we'll start chucking some different wood. Right, so we're back again. 13 gram, 11-12 centimeter Western twitch bait. Just loosen that off a touch. There we go. Give it a throw. Ooh. I loosened that off a little bit too much. Got a tiny bit of an overrun there. Only a tiny one. All clear. And away we go. This rod just feels so nice. It's really tempting to get some. When I'm not carp fishing. This is more like badminton using the wrist than tennis using the arm when it comes to casting, if you know what I mean. You still obviously use your arm, but the sort of power comes from the wrist and the loading up of the rod, which is why it's so important to have them balanced and set up right. But yeah, we're chucking 13.5 gram, no problem. And we're working, again, took my finger off the spool. I didn't tighten that back up, did I either? That'll be why. There you go, easily resolved. I remember tighten that back up. I'm not worried that that's overrun a little bit while I've been demonstrating it to you, because it happens to us all. Little bit of adjustment on the spool setting and we're back to no problem fishing. And that's what you'll notice if you've not got your bait caster set up right. If it's set too loose, you will overrun every chuck. If it's too tight, it will. I think I'm getting little knocks on this. If it's too tight, you won't be able to cast very far, and your accuracy will be affected because it won't be releasing the lure when you want it to. The same thing applies with being too light. Your accuracy is affected because it's not releasing the lure when it's supposed to. It's releasing it too late. But no, this feels lovely. 13.5 gram, no problem. We'll get this in and drop the weight down to 9 gram. So this rod's marketed itself all the way down to 3.5. So if it's feeling okay on the 6 grammer, we'll give it a chuck. Right, 9 gram, here we go. Right, back with the 9 gram spin tail. We'll just dial that in. There we go. Lovely. Again, same sort of distance, 25-30 meters, because the 9 grams is in such a small dense sort of packet, it casts all right. It would be different if you was chucking a 9 gram like big twitch bait out there, because the air resistance would be too much. You wouldn't get as far. But no, that's lovely. Feel that coming back. And again, same distance. Yeah, feels lovely. You're getting all the feedback that you're going to want from fishing a spin tail. You know whether it's working or not. You can feel it hit the bottom. Yeah. Just with a straight reel retrieve, you're feeling everything. Oh, the rod's giving a little bit as well when I crank it hard. I think that was me just hitting a bit of weed there. I am actually chucking in quite a shallow bay in front of me. It looks to be about 3 or 4 foot at its deepest point, maybe 3 or 4 rod lengths out. So I'm not expecting there to be any fish. It's a demo video, which we've demoed that this works 9 grams no problem at all. So let's drop down to 6 gram next, see how it deals with that. Right, my mistake folks, it's not the 6 gram twitch. Next it's the 8 gram popper, which is what we're on now. Give it a flick. Cast nice. Again, good feedback. I feel that lure. Couldn't quite feel it on the other one, but the other rod was the second rod was a 10 to 30, so it was a lot thicker. Yeah, not a problem. Let's try it out there. Lovely. And the rod's working that lure nice. Little downward twitch of the rod makes the lure flick back a fish on the surface. Rest it a minute. Often that's where you get your strikes. And a bit more twitching. So can it work a popper on the surface? Yes, it can. So now we're down to 6 gram. See how it deals with 6 gram. Right, we're back with 6 grams of is it? I can't remember. Savage Gear. Yeah, 6 grams of Savage Gear's gravity twitch. No problem. Cast that out nicely. So we're still 3 gram above what this minimum cast rate is. Remember, it's just supposed to chuck out 3.5 gram. So 6 grams, plenty. Oh, that's lovely. Works out lovely. Again, we're getting good distance. 25 meters easy. That feels nice coming back. Straight reel retrieve. Feel that back end of that lure flicking out. yeah, it's such a pleasure to fish with this little setup. Ooh, out of all the ones that we've had so far, even though I've had a few little line overruns on it, but that's been, in all honesty, me not keeping my thumb slightly touching the spool as I'm casting out, just trying to get a little bit more distance. If I behave with it, it fishes lovely. So them slight overruns aren't an issue, they're not world ending, fishing trip ending. And again, we'd resolve it just by tightening up the spool. Yeah, lovely. Lovely. The last one, and then we'll get the 4 gram paddle tail on and see how it deals with that, see what we can actually feel. Be a good test for this reel as well. Let's give that a go. Right, we are back with the 4 gram micro lure. Now, in all honesty, folks, this is like BFS territory. This is proper finesse sort of stuff, really. Top end of it, top end of the finesse stuff, granted. But if this rod didn't say that it could cast 3.5 gram, I wouldn't even attempt this. But it says it can, so we'll give it a go. Better dial it in first. Out there, we'll turn the magnetic brakes back on max as well. Right, let's give it a blast. Right, so that didn't go where I wanted it to because it was too light and the reel overran a little bit. So we'll tighten the reel back up to allow me to whip the rod a little bit more. See how we go again. No, like, yeah, 3.5 gram went out into the water, but it did not go anywhere near where it was supposed to go. Like a straight overhead. No, it just powers it straight into the lake. So one more. You sure something nice just popped out? No, it's, yeah, this is not throwing 3.5, well, it's not throwing 4 gram, it's not throwing 3.5 gram. It dealt with the 6 gram okay, but no, you might be able to drop it down the edge of a wall on a canal or something like that, but you're not casting it with any degree of accuracy at all. So for the rated weighted lures, it's not quite right there. Should have stopped at, say, 6 gram. However, we have come to the end of the test for this one, so what would I give it? Well, I think overall, again, if I was to do them separately, it'd be the same. It'd be a 1.5 thumbs up for this rod, let down by the fact that it doesn't accurately identify what it's supposed to cast. So, you know, that could really ruin your day's fishing if you weren't paying attention. You get a horrible frap up. 1.5 thumbs up for the rod. It's got nice customing on it, and it is a pleasure to fish with. It's well made for what it is. Just to say it's like less than 20 quid. It might even be less than £15. The reel, I'm going to give 2 thumbs up, even though it's overwrapped, because I've been trying to do stuff with it that it's not really supposed to do. It's not supposed to throw these 4 grams tiny little lures, no way. And the other wrap hooks were my error. They were me trying to get more out of my equipment than I should have been doing. If I got it all locked up and tight, it wouldn't have done that. So overall, 1.5 thumbs up for the rods, for the rod even, 2 thumbs up for the reel. Thanks very much for watching, folks. See you in the next one. If you call